keybinds for beginners and all the tips for starting to play on keyboard and mouse. Now recently I've changed to keyboard and mouse, and these settings it's been so easy to play. My my movement is so fluent, and it's just the best keybinds you can use. So I'm only going to go through the important ones, but I'm going to slowly scroll down. So if you want to pause the video, open up your Fortnite, and then whilst going through you can change them to whatever I've got. So let me just scroll through until we get to the important ones, and then I'll go through why they're good and why you should change it. Okay, so as you know, weapon slots are very important. Obviously you need to be quickly changing your weapons fast, things like that. So, well, in my opinion, for slot 1 you're going to want to have your shotgun, and your hand's always going to be on the mouse. So an easy way for this is you're going to want to have your scroll wheel up, because whilst running around, if someone shoots, all you have to do is literally scroll wheel up and your shotgun's out straight away. It's a really easy key. You don't have to move your hand off, so you can keep moving, and it's just a really reliable way of pulling out your first weapon if you want to get into a fight. Now slot 2, you want something that's not too hard to reach for, because you're always going to have your secondary weapon here. So I've got mine as Q, as it's right next to my W, so all you have to do is literally just put your forefinger on there and it's done. Now slot 3, 4 and 5. All you need for this is, you might have an SMG or movement, but you're mostly just going to have meds in this, especially if you're like an arena player who likes to play either like passive, or just you want to make sure you've always got like the best loadout. So 3, 4 and 5, as they're not very important if you've got heals, like you don't need to switch to them too quickly, and it's just a little stretch up to your hotkeys to be able to click it. So I would recommend having it just 3, 4 and 5. And then the harvesting tool I just keep as tab, because it's just an easy way that you can just quickly move to it, and it's just really simple. Now building, this is a key part to your keybinds, because if you can't build, you're not going to be very good, are you? So playing keyboard and mouse, you're going to need a mouse that has side buttons, otherwise it's going to be very hard for you to start playing keyboard and mouse. So my recommendation is buying a very light mouse that has side buttons on, and let me take you through what keybinds I use, because they're very easy to use. So as your wall, you're going to want it as the side mouse button 2, which will be furthest away from you, and then the stairs as the one below it. So if you're trying to 90 up, you just have to use those 2 and then to build, and it's just really simple, and it's a really efficient way if you're trying to learn quickly on how to free build and stuff, and it's just a really good way of building. Now floor, left shift, you want to, most games, if there's not like an auto sprint, you're going to be holding left shift a lot of the time, because you want to sprint, you're not going to be walking. So if you have your floor as left shift, my finger is always used to being on it, so it's always there, so I can always just build straight away. And it's really key, because you don't have to stretch anywhere. You can just the whole game you can just rest your pinky on shift, so whenever you need to build a floor, you can. Now roof, you don't usually use roof much unless you've got high ground and end game and you're building like floor and roof, so you're like protecting your builds and stuff. But I've got mine as C, because as again, it's diagonal from D, it's a teeny little stretch, and it's just really easy to use. And then trap, I've got mine as T, it's a little 2-3 key stretch, but it's not too bad. And then to place, you just want to have the left mouse button, because you're just like, it's like shooting, you're just placing the build. It's a really easy button to get to. And then the repair, I've just got mine as G, it's not much of a stretch. And the rotate building, I would recommend having this off because there's a setting, let me just quickly go to it, where you can have these ones here. But see, this confirm edit on release you want to have on. I don't know why it's off. But so when you edit, you don't have to click F to come off it, it's just easy. And then you want to disable pre-edit and just copy these settings here. And it's going to be much easier to play. Now I'm going to turn it back off just because when I play controller, I have it off. But yeah. Alright, next, editing. That is a very key thing because obviously you can't play without editing. So you're going to want to have your editing. A lot of people use E, but I think that's more efficient for picking up stuff. Now, I use F. I think you could use S as it's not too much of a stretch. You can have your finger on it as much as you want, and it's just a really easy thing to stretch to edit. Then obviously selecting build, you just want to have that left mouse button, and then, hey, this is the important part. Resetting building. Scroll wheel down, edit is insane. The only thing you have to do is literally clues in the name, scroll it down, and you just reset straight away. It's a really efficient way on how to build, and it will really help you when it comes to in-game. So this stuff, you can copy it, it doesn't really matter. Emotes don't really matter either, I think that's it. Yeah, you don't really need to worry about any of these. Now, the next part I'm going to go through is sensitivity. Now, this is all going to be depending on what DPI your mouse is at and the way how fast you can move your hand. Now, I've got quite a high DPI, so my sense is quite low. But if you want to check what your DPI is at, mine's at about 600, I think. So I've got my sensitivity quite low. But if you can find out what your DPI is, then you wanna, I'll leave a link in the description that you can see what your DPI is. But the key part is you want to, the settings is quite hard because copy these settings if you're a beginner, because I feel comfortable with these, but you can change them however you feel in game depending on your DPI, and just give yourself like a range. And sensitivity is, to be honest, your opinion on, because you don't want to be moving too fast because you don't want to miss your shots, but it's quite hard to have a high because you're going to be moving quite fast, but then it's quite good for quickly getting around. But so use these, but then you can test it out yourself in a creative. So we've got the X and Y, so we've got 11.5 here, 12.3, and then the targeting and scope, mine's about 60.8, so you just want to put these up to that. And then this off, 100% here, and then off again. Now, that is it for this part. Now, I'm going to be going through a few tips on things like what you can warm up with and just things like that. Okay, I'll see you guys. So, I am going to leave the codes in the description so you can just go down, copy it, and then paste it into the machine. But first up, the aim training. This is such a key part of warming up when you first get on. It's going to really help you get to learn keyboard and mouse, get to know your sensitivity and stuff, and it's just going to be really key for helping you learn keyboard and mouse. So there's different games, you can choose whatever weapon you want, you can practice with snipers, AR, shotgun, and all of that, so that's a really good one, and also I'll leave it in the description. And edit courses, they're really key. It's got some good like building and then editing and shooting and stuff, practicing your full sense, and that's where you can test out your sensitivity in both of these. And I'll leave both these codes in the description for you just to copy and everything. So, and then the last thing I recommend with playing keyboard and mouse is you're going to want to come over to like these most popular maps here. I recommend box fights more for just learning. So you want to go into some box fights and practice your building, shooting and stuff, get to know your sense and stuff, and then when you're secure and you can build well, then I'd recommend starting with realistics, because you want to be playing with people like on the same level as you and start getting good. And then when you like are really confident in playing and you just want to practice like a few scrims and stuff, there is a very good map which I used to play. I can't find it now, but if you just go around there's different kind of zone wars you can play, just field matches where you get in with loads of people. It's just a really good way to warm up. Now that's going to end today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I'll have the links in the description for the DPI tester, and I'll put the codes down in the description. Make sure you like and subscribe to the video.